Okay, we'll start out. If everyone could stand, our invocation is going to be by Pat Conrad. We had a cancellation, so she's going to lead us in prayer.
Father, we're thankful for this opportunity that we have to come together and conduct business of the county. I'm thankful, Father, that we live in a free nation where we have the ability to self-govern. I thank you, Father, for the military personnel throughout the years who have sacrificed that we have this freedom of assembly. Father, I thank you for all the blessings that we have when we look around us and see the devastation that's being caused by the current hurricane. We're once again thankful, Father, for your blessing upon us. I pray that you'll continue to bless the county. I pray that you'll bless this meeting tonight, that everything we say and do here will honor and glorify you. I pray all that in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Pat, if I can have you call roll.
Magistrate Riley,
Present.
Magistrate Coldiron,
Present.
Magistrate Humphrey,
Present.
and Judge Gill.
Present. Need to present for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting dated August 20th, 2019.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the August 20th, 2019 meeting.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to fiscal matters. Number one on the agenda is present for review for a motion to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, road fund, jail fund dated September 3rd, 2019, along with transfers as presented.
Having reviewed the claims that were drawn on the general fund, road fund, and jail fund and were dated September 3rd, 2019, along with transfers as presented, I'll make a motion we approve as such as printed.
I second.
I have a second. Any further questions? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number two, present for review to the Grant County Treasurer's cash position report for the month of August 2019. No action required. If y'all have had a chance to, obviously y'all have looked at it, at how much easier it is to read with the new software.
Yes,
So,
it is. It's real
a lot
nice.
more information. Peggy is going to be putting the summary report in each month, so you'll be able to see
I
what
think we-
cash on hand, what POs are out.
I think what's even nice too is that on the revenue condition report, used to be you could not tell what the revenue was coming in, in what particular month, and it's got a revenue for period and to year to date, and I think is really helpful for the fiscal court to see, especially when you have large sums of money, like when the road department money comes in, and you see the cash on hand swing. It just really helps to know when your money's there and when you can actually spend it or not. So I think it's really
It's a big
the
help.
software's really been
I've said it several times.
desperately
I
needed.
want to commend Peggy and Pat for the time they've put in to get
Yes.
all this stuff put
Yes,
into
and I
the new
appreciate
system. So
Pat and Peggy's.
makes it easier for all
Yes.
of us. Item number two, or actually number three, present for a motion to stop payment on check 15291 drawn on the jail fund on August 20th, 2019, made payable to the Grant County Drugs in the amount of $2,579.73 due to the check being lost for lack of sufficient address. That check was never received, correct? We never was notified. Just need to stop payment on this check so and actually it's in the claims to reissue it. It was missing part of the address.
Make a motion to stop payment on check 15291, dated August 20th, made payable to Grant County Drugs in the amount of $2,579.73 due to being lost.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to new business, present for a motion to declare as surplus the needs of the county a boiler located in the Grant County Courthouse. The intent is to sell the boiler as scrap metal per KRS 67.0802 subsection 4H. And this item and the next item are going to be the replacement, which on Friday at 10 o'clock is when we're going to be getting the site visit with the heating and air conditioning contractors to look at replacing. But as you all know, the boiler is leaking. We're unable to use it, so I'm needing to clear it out. And we're utilizing the maintenance, Jason and George, to help disassemble it and remove it out so we don't have to pay a contractor to do so.
How many, have you gotten like confirmation of how many contractors or agencies will come for the site visit on Friday?
So far, I've got notification from Rodney Howe by email, but I'm suspecting to get at least 2 more coming in. So I need a motion to declare the boiler surplus.
I make a motion to declare the boiler surplus that is located at the Grant County Courthouse with the intent to sell the boiler as scrap metal per KRS 67.0802.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for bringing that to us in a creative way and spirit of getting even a little bit more money for it than what we would have. So thanks for
Yeah.
that. I appreciate it on behalf of additional revenue that can be
On
generated.
on number 2, and when I read this surplus on it, this is going to be present a motion to declare surplus needs of the county for the hot water radiators that are located in Grant County Courthouse. The county will sell these radiators at an online auction per KRS 67.0802 subsection 4C, which the statute now allows us to sell at auction, and these radiators are what's throughout the building. Scrap metal, they're worth probably $5-10 at the most. They're selling online to people that's buying for antique purposes, anywhere from $200 to $600 online. So I believe the county can get more out of the surplus if you all elect to put these online.
I will make that motion per KRS 67.0802 to declare surplus of those needs of the county for all hot water radiators that are located at the Grant County Courthouse.
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to number 3, present for a motion to appoint the following fiscal court members to a standing committee pursuant to KRS 64.530 subsection 6. These committees will be for roads, committees for the budget and appropriations, committee for infrastructure, and personnel committee. And we've been talking about this. The purpose of these committees is so that we can break apart as a full fiscal court, and I feel like we can get more done by individually serving on these committees and working on certain projects together and then bringing it back to the fiscal court for a whole court vote. My recommendations, and we can do this motion all together, I'd like to recommend that Magistrate Codarn and Magistrate Riley will serve on the Roads Committee. Myself, Judge Dills, and Magistrate Codarn on the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Myself, Judge Dills, and Magistrate Humphrey on the Infrastructure Committee, and Magistrate Riley and Magistrate Humphrey on the Personnel Committee. And Jacqueline's put a lot of time, and I know Sean has worked on it, putting these committees together so that we can sort of combine our resources and I feel like get a lot more things done. So if I can get a motion, if everybody's agreeable with these committees, then we can proceed on.
I make a motion to establish the road committee with Magistrate Coldar and Magistrate Rowley to establish the budget and appropriations with Judge Dills and Magistrate Coldar, to establish an infrastructure committee with Judge Dills and Magistrate Humphrey, and to establish a personnel committee with Magistrate Humphrey and Magistrate Riley.
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item, we have an addition. Susan with the library was going to present to us her tax rates for upcoming year. Yeah, if you don't mind, up to the mic, and that way you can pick it up on the recording.
Put in front of you a report about some of our activities over the last year, and then on the back side, some more statistics and just some numbers that you can look at. Our tax rate for this year, which will be taking compensating, and our budget calculations, which is just shy of what the compensating is estimated to bring. Wanted to point out a few things. Well, right now we have, well, you can read about what we've done over the last year. The biggest thing, of course, is that we have almost doubled our space from 12.6 to 22.7 square feet. Biggest purpose of that was to provide a children's area, a children's department for the kids of Grant County. And if you haven't been there, please do. It's very nice, and the children love it. The other thing that we decided that was important to the county was to build on a large meeting room. We get requests from all over the region, all over the state, actually, for meetings, and the previous meeting room could only hold 50 people. And there were times when we had possibly 60 or 70 people trying to crowd in that room. That wasn't good. So now we have one big meeting room that can be divided into two larger rooms. And we still have our community room that we had, but we're using that primarily for library programming, makerspace, or I call it the messy program room. And we also have a children's activity room, and we have a tutoring room. We do have a lot of tutors come in and tutor school children throughout the year, and they need a private place to do that. We added two, on the adult side, two small meeting rooms. We have a lot of people coming, maybe lawyers doing depositions, or counselors meeting with their clients, whatever. But 2 or 3 people, 4 people. So we have a couple of those. We've expanded the local history room, and we've added on what used to be my office. We divided that in half, and the back half will be the recording studio that hopefully we will get some people of the county to record their stories. We now have 19 employees, 11 full-time and 8 part-time. And then in addition to that, this past summer we hired an additional 8 part-time people for the Fueling the Mind program. You can see on the back programming, total program attendance was 14,705 people, which I think is pretty good. Meetings held, those are not library meetings or things that we generate. Those are community meetings or people coming into the library, 131. I think that's pretty good for, especially since we were under construction most of the year. Computer usage, 16,846, and registered users in the county, 17,510. The real property rate for this year was set, and the compensating rate was 10 cents, 10 cent, no, how do I say that? 10.4 cents. Personal property is 17.21. Motor vehicle, of course, is always 3, which is calculated to bring in $1,545,458. Our fiscal year 20 budget calculations are estimated to be $1,521,144. Respectfully submitted. The other two things, you have, this Saturday, we're having our How-To Festival. We did this last year, and so it was supposed to be a smaller sheet than this, but if you want to take this and post it in the county, we can have some extras out front. Would appreciate it. Short programs, just, kind of down and dirty, learn how to do something really quick. I also included our September calendar. One thing that we did when we expanded the library was that we expanded our youth services department. So we now have 2 people specifically working with elementary down to babies. And then we hired a new teen person, and she's really good, and she's got a lot of programs, gaming programs, cooking programs for teens, book discussion groups, all kinds of things. If you look on this Saturday, we start our book sale, and that will run for the whole week, and that will be in the community room. So please come by and buy some books. The proceeds help to fund our programs. And on the 16th, we have in-person healthcare assister. Some people may be interested in that. We have 2 more trivia nights that we're doing down at the marina at Lake Williamstown. We have an author visit, Cece Payne, who is popular with the young adult group. So, any questions?
No?
I got a couple. As far as the new edition, can you give an update as to what's outstanding to pay for that? I mean, is it completely paid for? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
As you know, the length of time that it took to build it took longer than we had anticipated. So we still owe some on the construction. I don't have the exact figure in my head.
Okay. What's your anticipated payment on the loan? Do you know?
We get a grant for 81.9 from the state, and then it's another. Our total is about $250,000 a year.
$250,000 a year?
Approximately.
Okay. So with that, when do you anticipate the addition being paid off?
In 30 years.
30 years? Do you have any certificates of deposit at the library that have money in them?
No, we have our bank accounts.
Please.
Our money's in the bank.
There isn't just a cash position. There's no. You know currently what that cash position is?
I do not. I
Okay.
can get that for you.
If you don't, just send me an email on it.
Okay.
We field a lot of these questions.
Yeah, we do.
Because people think that the county sets the budget for
Okay.
the library and that, about taxes and stuff. I know for years I've always fielded questions, so that's probably why you're asking.
Do you refer them to call me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
No one ever
and I
does.
explained to them the process.
Okay.
Of course, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to make an additional phone call. But I feel like I filled a lot of questions
Okay.
about that.
Well,
Yeah.
please tell them to call me. I'll be glad to
Okay.
go over it with them, and I'll send that to all
Yeah.
3 of you.
Thank you.
One other question I have, what interests me a lot, and it's because it's personal to me, is the literacy programs that you have, through the Williamstown school system. And it's it looks here, it's like an intervention project program. and a Kentucky Reading Project. I know with dyslexia and things like that, do you all have programs set up like that for children in the county?
Not specifically for dyslexia or any specific learning disability. That
Yes.
we leave that to the schools.
Okay.
I feel like that they should probably address that. We might have an informational type program, and if that would be of interest, we could certainly look into that.
Yeah, I just see a lot of children struggling and getting behind on reading. And I know the Gillingham Oren program. Those types of things, I would think that would be an asset to our community for these children if we, just another avenue. And, just.
Well, and Dima Romer works with the elementary age kids. And she and I have discussed that along with, and Melissa Wallace too. Many, many years ago, I taught Laubach reading for adults.
Okay.
And it's a good method to use with kids as well. And Orton Gillingham's, of course, but Orton Gillingham's a very involved approach.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But, and I see even with the elementaries, these young kids, I'm just almost certain we need some more aggressiveness done in our literacy of our county. It will not only, improve our youth.
I agree.
And, I just wondered where's to start with it.
Give me a call.
Okay.
Maybe we can start something.
Okay.
Are you trained in Orton Gillingham?
No, I wouldn't mind being trained in it.
Okay.
I had just a couple of questions. I guess you create a calendar like this monthly. How is it distributed throughout the county?
We decided a couple of years ago that because we have a weekly paper, in Lexington and Cincinnati don't really know we exist a lot of times, and so we send out one of these to every school child in the county, both school systems. We retain a mailing list, so if you'd like to be a part of that, we'd certainly put you on that.
I think it's great. I really do. I see a lot of these programs here, and it's just really great. And I'll be honest, it's the first time I've ever seen it.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, it's at the library.
You
I
need
think
to
it's
get
great.
on our
I
mailing
need-
list too.
I need to get on that list. My next question, and this might, I don't know, what's that box in front of the Crittenden Firehouse?
The book box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a book delivery box.
Again, something I had no knowledge of what it even was, and I've had several people ask me, what is that? And I'm telling them, I don't have a clue.
If you want your books delivered there, we deliver them there, and we deliver them to Corinth.
Okay. Has that ever been publicized in the paper, or maybe a nice
Yeah.
article in
is.
the paper? Okay.
Maybe we
I've
should
just
do it
never
again.
seen it, and like I said, I've had several people ask me, I'd just like to see it utilized more if possible.
Well, we would too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go back to the fact that, when people say we don't have enough to do in Grant County,
Right.
there's a lot to do in Grant County.
There is a lot, there's no
And
doubt.
between the
But
Extensions Department, the 4-H Department, the library.
Right.
Our Parks and Recreation, to say that, I just don't know, I don't know if we don't publicize it well or what. the
Well,
issue
maybe
is.
we could publicize it instead of maybe just once, we can publicize it maybe once a quarter or twice a year, something like that, that way. Because we have so many people moving in and out of the county.
It's difficult to advertise because people we ask people, where did you hear about the program when you come? Because we need to know where we spend our dollars.
Absolutely.
For several years, I was advertising on radio. No one ever said they heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
So I pulled back on that. And that's when we started doing the flyers. We thought, well, get them in the hands of every school children, and maybe it'll get to the parents. Maybe they'll put it in the refrigerator or whatever.
That's great.
But people have to see something to have it lock in so many times before they,
Finally invest to go, or
We've
Susan,
had
do you
programs where
develop-
somebody said, well, it should have been in the paper. I said, it was in the paper.
Yeah.
Several weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on the scroll on the TV, and it was there.
There we go.
Do you develop this in-house?
Yes.
I'm going to connect with you because one of the topics that I'll share at the end during our little updates, we attended a conference last week on tourism and community calendars, and this is very similar to what some of the other counties throughout the state of Kentucky are doing. And I think there's an opportunity to reapply and build on this with other events, and that could be done on our county's webpage, and we're working to renew some stuff.
And about 8 or 10 years ago, Tabitha helped me, a long time ago, we had a community calendar.
At least 10.
Yep. And there was a community calendar, and no one submitted. I think Juanita was the only one that, or one of the few that submitted things. So again, you've got to. I'm sorry.
That was a process to submit things. It wasn't as simple as just going on a website and entering in your own calendar, or it copying from the calendar that you've created and just showing up on a calendar. At that time, it was you have to email this person your dates, and then
They had to enter.
they had to enter them, and then sometimes the information wasn't just right because we're all human. you
Yep,
know,
the
so-
relay game.
Yeah, so if there was, and there certainly is technology where multiple people can have access to input information into a calendar and it show up.
Yep. Yep. It just sparked me. I was like, oh, this is very similar to what they did. and we need to
Technology
read.
has changed
Oh, it
a lot in
has.
the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yes, it has too.
it's gotten easier.
Yes, it
It was
has.
really cool. I mean, I think there was research performed by the collaborative. There was a community collaborative. All these people would eat lunch together once a month and talk about how we were going to get these dates together. And the technology at that time, no one could afford it.
Yes.
The county wasn't willing to take on the fee. The library couldn't by themselves. The school couldn't by themselves. We couldn't really pull money because the way that everybody's set up with the taxing districts, it wasn't really applicable to be able to mingle everybody's money together. So it was a struggle.
Yeah.
I think it would be great if there was as a one central location where everybody could, let's just go to the court page and see what's
Yes.
happening in the county.
Yes.
And,
That would be great.
Working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of saying that we're working on it, but we're going to get there.
It would help parents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Susan, everything's looking nice at the library, and it's nice to have a community
Well,
room that
thank you.
can house quite a few people, so.
It will seat, they tell me, it will seat up to 200 people. I said, oh my God. I think that would be standing like, I don't know. It seems like a lot, but it is, it's a work in progress. And even though construction is majorly done, we're still fine tuning some of the details, as you know. That's what happens with construction.
Sure.
Yeah. That's good. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving down to presentation, we have Tabitha Clemens with us and Stephen Bates. They're going to put on a presentation regarding delinquent tax collection.
I think everyone was handed one of these packets here. We've got it up on the screen as well.
We just thought you were at an odd angle, so we wanted to make
Thank
sure you
you.
had it in front of you as
I
well.
appreciate that.
Sure. Okay. So Stephen and I have been working together for several months regarding how we were going to proceed with delinquent taxes. So we're going to take you through kind of the tax process briefly, and just to kind of get everybody on the same page of how this whole calendar works throughout the year. So we start, and I know this is a little small here, it's a little more legible on your paper, but we start with the assessment of property, real estate property by the PBA, which must be certified by the Department of Revenue. Once those assessments are certified, taxing entities get a copy of those assessments. You all have probably seen your assessment because you've already set your rate. But normally around August 31st of each year, the tax rates are due to my office, and we collect all of the tax rates and we submit them to our vendor, which will happen tomorrow morning. So we will submit all of the tax rates to our vendor, and the vendor will send us sample reviews. Those normally come in. We'll get the first thing that we get is a complete number analysis of the actual total numbers. So how many tax bills there's going to be, the total amount of revenue collected for each entity, and how that corresponds with the assessments and the rates. We check to make sure all of that is correct in the totals before they process sample bills. And when they process those sample bills, we'll spend the following week after that. I spend in the basement basically for hours on end with no windows and no daylight, making you feel bad for me. And literally add up every sample bill that they send us, making sure that the assessment for whether it's real estate, tangible, the type of property that it is, the taxing district that it's in, making sure that that's correct, and taking each taxing entity's assessment multiplied by their rate to get their total amount for each of those sample tax bills to make sure that they're correct before we process the entire batch. Our vendor is very good about the PBA and the Sheriff's Office contract with this vendor. They're very good about making sure that we get a sample of every type of bill that's out there. So that's reassuring to us that if we're sending something and it has a Williamstown school rate on it, that school rate's correct, or Grant County school rate, that school rate's correct, so that the collection process is smooth. Then starting in October 1st, as all of you know who own property, the sheriff begins collecting tax bills. If you pay it before November 1st, you do get a 2% discount. Woohoo! Exactly. Then in January, the sheriff sends out past due letters from the sheriff's office and shows the penalty that's assessed for being past due. And then come April 15th, it's not only tax day for the IRS, it's also tax day for the county clerks. We get all of the certificates of delinquency from the sheriff's office. So those certificates come over. There's normally an average of about just over 600 tax bills that come over to our office yearly that are not paid. So then we start the process of collection of the delinquent tax bill. And when that starts, more penalty and interest is assessed. And the county attorney at that point steps in, and before the start of May, he sends a letter of delinquency and offers payment plans per statute that he's required to office. He gets to tweak those a little bit how he sees fit on the payment plans, but he is required to offer a payment plan. And then on the first Monday of August is when our tax bill normally takes place. We normally always have it on the same Monday. It seems like our third-party purchasers like to have the counties that they go to kind of in a rotation, so that's worked out well for us. And it also gives us firm deadlines with the month ending and the new month starting. We do, at the end of each month and the start of the new month, get to assess more penalty and interest, so it does give us a little boost in penalty and interest if we wait until August. So third-party purchasers register. There's certain requirements that you can find on our website that if you purchase more than 3 bills or it's over $10,000, you have to register with the state and register with our office in order to be a purchaser of tax bills. You can't just show up that day and purchase tax bills. You have to understand the process and go through the registration. So when they come to purchase tax bills, we have that sale in my office, and we offer up any bills that have not been paid. So they have until the Saturday before the sale. We start the sale right when we open at 8:30. So that we cannot pay bills that day. They're sold that day. And this year we did pretty well at the sale. We had just about the same average number of buyers, which is about 12 entities. Some people represent multiple purchasers. Like in law firms, they send one person. They have 4 lawyers in the firm. Each lawyer is registered individually. They take care of their own accounts. So one person might represent 4 people. But we try to have a smooth process. Something new that we added this year on recommendation from the county attorney's office was the 911 fee that's on the tax bill legally cannot be collected by my office because it cannot have penalty and interest assessed to it. My office has to assess penalty and interest to tax bills, all tax funds. So the county attorney's office came up with a nice label. It's colorful. Instead of us just verbalizing to the taxpayer that they have a fee due at the county attorney's office, they also get written notice on their receipt from us that we label. We put a sticker and tell them verbally that they need to come over and see the deputies in Stephen's office to be able to pay those fees, the 911 fees.
Kevin, don't mean to interrupt you, but I think
Sure.
this past time, we actually had one of the assistants in my office was actually present.
That's correct. Yeah. So Rhonda came. She had actually not been to a tax sale ever. She's been in that role for many years and had not been to the tax sale. So she first asked if she could just come and see what it was about. It's not super entertaining. You're really not missing out on much, but it's a lot of numbers being called out and names, and we flip through our book and get everything together for each entity. But she was able to collect 911 fees there at the tax sale from the third-party purchasers as well. So I think that worked out really nicely. I think it was a little bit of an education for some of the third-party purchasers, and I think some of them have come back afterwards, because in a lot of cases, this is just someone representing those firms, and they don't have a blank checkbook there. You know, they have the checks to present that they're prepared to present for us, but they weren't necessarily prepared to present a check to her, but they were able to get information from her at that time. I think it's something that we certainly want to continue doing, so that worked out pretty well. Any questions on the process? It's much lengthier than what most people think. They think they just get ran through a printer right before October and printed and sent into their mailbox, but it's a process.
So when I took office, one of the first things I did was try to go and meet with all of the department heads, including Tabitha, and I said, hey, where's my role with your office? Tell me what I need to do. Tell me where areas of whatever. And one of her suggestions was about taxes. And I don't remember verbatim what you told me, but something along the lines of maybe we'll look at the delinquent tax collection process or something along those lines. And what I did when I got in there was we took everything from ground zero. And so I looked at it and said, okay, I see where the problem is. Obviously, I'm not involved until here, but from here till here, we've got a bunch of gaps. And we need to fulfill an entire, basically we took it and made an entire new program. We scrapped what had been done and started from ground zero. So with that being said, I guess we can roll to what was the accomplishments with the new program.
So you can see on your first page of total collection, and I want to make sure that you understand, total collection from 2017 and 2018 are full calendar years. So January through December, full calendar years. And 2019 is January until the end of August. So we have 8 months of collection. Now, with that said, the bulk of that collection has taken place because we had the tax bill sale, and Stephen's payment plans are complete. He set up his payment plans differently, and he can speak to that if he wants about how he did that. But the bulk of the collection has taken place. However, we will still have tax bills collected throughout the next quarter. Finish up this quarter in September, and then the next quarter we'll see more come in. If property sells that has a delinquent tax bill, that'll be taken care of for the property to be lien free and all of those sorts of things. But in 2017, there was $233,846.93 collected, which equals out of the 3 years to be 28% of the collection. In 2018, it was $238,942.98, which was 29% of the total collection. And then in 2019, we were able to collect, with Stephen's help, $352,474.10. So that collection number skyrocketed, in my opinion.
And one of the things we did is that, let me just say, around the state, there's 120 different ways of collecting these delinquent taxes. And what I did is try to pick the best of the group, and went around and asked, well, how do you do it? And I also looked at counties that were similar in size, because there's no reason for me to talk to Fayette County. There's no reason for me to talk to Warren County. I need to talk to like-sized counties. So I talked to those county attorneys and said, how are you doing it? I'll be perfectly candid. Some of them I scrapped. I'm not doing that. But there's other ones I went, okay, I like that idea. What I did know is that we needed to do a better job of collection, and I think that this pie graph is indicative of the changes that we made. The letters that were sent out, and she talked about those letters that were sent out, they were very specific. You had until this date to set up your payment plan. You had until this date to fulfill your payment plan. You had until this date, or they were going to be turned over to the county clerk. Those specific dates, and those people who have ever done business with me as a private attorney, they know I like dates certain for things to be done. You tell somebody, have it done within 3 months, well, they're sitting there going, was it 3 months when you sent the letter? Is it 3 months when I received the letter? how's that work? Well, no, I'm going to get rid of all that. We're going to do specific dates, and they do. And when people called, despite whatever their story might be, I said, the date of the letter is the date of the letter. Whatever it says, that's what we're holding you to. So I think all of those steps were how we got to those numbers.
So that includes you guys even revising the language and the direction you set with the property owner too?
Absolutely. I mean, if they came in and said, I don't, for example, and I don't know that much about, I know the process that was done in the past, let me say this. And let me also say, this is, you mentioned Rhonda Gordon, she's worked in the office for a long period of time. One of the things I noticed was Rhonda needed a lot of, she was being asked to build that table and not being given wood, screws, nails, and glue, okay? And so I said, hold on, let me give you all the tools. So I talked to Tabitha, I said, what's the program you use in your office? I want her to be able to see the exact same data in her office that you're seeing in your office. Well, she said, well, that'll cost, I think the cost was $3,000. I think we can afford it now, okay? We can afford the $3,000. We paid that off, and then some. We'll get into that later. But the point of it was, we needed to make sure that she knew exactly what was going on in the past with that property. Did they have past due taxes from previous years? And also, is this something where we can, are they going to fulfill those contractual obligations if we offer them? And just for the record, those contractual obligations were 3 months. We talked to the Department of Revenue. We said, how long do we need to give them? Well, there's nothing in the statute where you guys want to do it. Okay, fine. That's it. That's all I need to know. Because I know we needed to sell them on August, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I'm sorry.
You're fine. No worries. So just to kind of give you the difference between the tax years in numbers instead of in a chart. The difference between 2017 and 2019 for the total amount collected was $118,000, almost $120,000 was collected more. And then the difference between 2018 and 2019 was $113,000 for the total collection. And for the fiscal court, the impact there is almost $10,000 for the fiscal court. If you look at Grant County Schools, it's almost $30,000, and it almost doubles for Weemstown School. And we're only talking about the delinquent side of this, so this is not what their total revenue of collection of taxes is. We're not even talking about anything that the sheriff collects tonight. It's just what's collected by my office and then what Stephen collects in payment plans and turns over to my office. Okay? Anything you want to say?
One of the things I would note is that when I said we took it from ground zero, I also suggested that we have people that come in and say, well, I can't pay that off. And I said, well, how about this? Let's do a credit card payment. You got a credit card? Yeah. Well, I can get a lower interest rate paying by credit card than I can paying all your penalties and interest and everything else. So we collected quite a few, I'm not going to put a number on it, but quite a few were paid by credit card, which saved them money in the long run, but we got all the money right away.
Tabitha, with your comment you just made back on page 2, is that pie chart only reflective of that's the delinquent, the tax bills that were declared delinquent, you collected in partnership 43% of the delinquent tax bills that remained. So it still left 57%?
43% of the collection of those 3 years. So those 3 years,
Not the overall tax bill.
not the overall tax bill.
No,
The
just
overall
you're
tax
saying,
bills would be, there's a much higher percentage being paid.
And that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
On a ballpark, is it around 25% of property owners not paying?
No,
Or is it even
it's
less
of
than that?
less
the,
than
no, it's of the
10%.
bill, it's of the delinquency itself, of
Yeah.
the total delinquencies. You're saying that
That's what I was like, oh my gosh,
28%
do
of
we
it.
really only, do we only have 57%?
We send out, and don't quote me, because, I mean, I am in tax mode right now, but somewhere around 15,000-ish tax bills, right?
Yeah.
That
Okay.
sounds about right,
We're
because
in-
we
we're
pay you
in-
for each
Right,
tax
you
bill.
pay me for each tax bill.
And then
And
you
I
said
can
you
give you the
said about
specifics on every year
600.
since I've been in office.
So
but-
it's not as bad
But,
as.
and 600 get turned over as delinquent. And then that number varies year to year on how many get paid. The one thing that I'll add to what Stephen said about the credit card payments, we take them in our office as well. Equally, this year, we saw more people paying multiple years. So they would
Like
come in.
getting caught up.
Getting caught up. They would come in and say, oh, I have a tax bill, I got a letter from the county attorney, and we would say, but you still have 17, 18, oh, there's one from 14 too. Okay, how much is all of it? and then they would then try to figure out how they were going to take care of all of them.
What
So,
we discovered is that in prior tax years, people had come in, made an arrangement to pay, had promised to pay, and then never paid.
And no follow-up
And
to
there was
such,
no follow-up.
no repercussion.
So I sent a letter to all those people and said, you failed to fulfill your obligations. Your tax bills will now be subject to sale. You can come pay them if you like, but we're not doing any more deals. So your deal times are over. Come on in. So I think a lot of that fell over to what happened between April and August.
Well, and then to add to that, besides the penalties, actually they're paying, talking about the credit card, when these third parties purchase these tax bills, their fees are enormous.
and the law is specifically written that way. They revamped this years ago. I mean, when Chuck was sheriff, he had the tax bill sale, and at some point, 2011-ish,
Yes.
it got transferred to the county clerk's
And that's when
office.
they become, where you can take into a payment plan.
Right. So it's designed that way. And eventually, if you are a third-party purchaser, you can foreclose on the property. That's what the ultimate end all. If you're not
Wow,
collecting
people are going to
your interest rate and your penalty that you can assess on the property, and they place liens on the property, so the likelihood of the property being sold is less. I mean, they're going to catch that in a title search. If they're doing a legitimate sale with a realtor or with an attorney, then they're going to catch that in a title search, and then they're going to either have to pay that off to the third party, or the third party is going to be in a year range where they can
Seize the property.
seize the property.
How many, as you guys have played catch-up mode for what it sounds to be for some folks several years, how many of those are still, do we got like 40 of them that are still underneath contracts to, or?
I would tell you it's a fraction of what was there before.
What you came into
Right.
as far as?
Because we've just released them. I mean,
So-
I'll tell you on that, you probably know better than I.
In order to, so the pendings that he had, so that's what they get put into is pending if they're under a payment plan. So when they show up in my list in my office, if he's put them now, currently, the current procedure, if Rhonda or someone in his office has put the bill in pending, then it's going to show up on my side that it's pending, meaning it's under a payment plan. We don't have those for this year's tax bill because if they were on a payment plan and they didn't fulfill their obligation, we sold their bill. In prior years, that wasn't always the case because some of those were held because they were on longer payment plans. The payment plan wasn't the 3-month window.
Yeah.
They were on a
Maybe
long.
over a year or more, sometimes many years.
Yeah.
And so, once again, I went back to, what did we just say, 15,000 bills got sent out, 600 become delinquent. You do the math, the majority of people pay their bill on time. So when I say to the public, I'm going to let these people now have an additional year or whatever, that's not fair. So they need to have 3 months.
Got it. Okay. So,
Well, just so you all know, there's a lot of bills that will never be purchased or sold. They're little lots around Lake Williamstown. They're not on the
Yeah, like
lake.
$7.
Some people passed
$8.
away. There's no estate, and these bills are just out in limbo.
Right, yeah, there's
Yeah, so you don't really look at the number of bills, you look at the amount,
value
because
amount,
there could be
that's true.
20 bills that are only valued at probably less than $1,000 in taxes.
and I can feel comfortable saying this and it being accurate. There are, most county clerks and most counties are not experiencing this. They're not presenting numbers of increase to their fiscal courts. They're presenting numbers of decrease. Because when this process was implemented, these tax companies were like everywhere. I know a county that I've went to their tax bill a couple times to get more ideas on how they're presenting their tax bills to the public for sale. They would have 100, the first one I went to was back in 2014 when I was running. They invited me to come to their tax sale. There was 100 people in the room. They're lucky if they have 20 now. And it's a county double our size. The purchasers have become smarter. They know not to buy property that has been abandoned, where they were buying those before. They're not buying property unless there's value to it, which is the amount of the bill. So they've really become much wiser to the process. because they weren't seeing their return on investment when they were buying a bill that was $7 just because they could buy the bill. They're being much more selective in what they're buying. So, all right. So this gives you just a picture of the direct impact to the fiscal court this year. So $30,793.92 through August that's been collected for the court. And then some indirect impact to the fiscal court. So for the county attorney's office, that number really went up. It was at its lowest $32,374, and this year so far $48,284. From my office, $19,183 was our lowest, and our highest was $28,657 this year. For the county sheriff, $18,871 at the lowest, and this year $27,133. And then mental health is the other tax rate that this body sets, so I thought it was important to bring that up. $2,244 back in 2017 and $3,260. Not a huge jump, but that rate is a very low rate. So, and it's the same rate every year since I've been in office. So, but one thing that
So I guess just to follow up with this chart here, those monies then are used in the operation of the offices. I think that the yours for your office. And so the only restriction is I can't take any of it as any sort of income. She can't take it as any sort of income. Brian can't take any of his as any sort of income. It's all going to have to be put back into the operation of our office. So when the office downstairs was remodeled, there you go. The money actually ends up going back into the facility, so, and that obviously is something that'll be here for a long time. And we're going to continue to look for those sorts of things. The security system that we've all talked about the last time, that sort of money is being spent for those sorts of activities.
and then only because the librarian is here, we didn't put this on our chart, but I'll share yours with you, Susan. So in 2017 was your lowest amount collected, $13,337, and this year you're at $20,283. So an increase of almost $7,000. So, all right. So what's kind of our next steps? So the bills that were not purchased by third-party purchasers at the sale are available for purchase still in our office. If you want to be a third-party purchaser, you can register anytime to do that. It's not something that's a drop-dead deadline. You can come in and purchase. The instructions to do so are on our website, which is grantcountyclerk.org, under delinquent taxes. And it is a process to become a third-party purchaser. There is a handbook on all of the documents that you need and the process and the interest that you can charge after you purchase. It's all outlined in KRS, and there is a handbook. So Stephen will...
And then my next step is, now that we've gotten those bills that have not been purchased, we're going to go through and assess those as to the viability of taking a civil action to collect those now. So obviously, the next, as Chuck just pointed out, there's some down there that are a $17 bill on a property that we got to be cautious about just filing on everything. But by the same token, if there's some that are out there and I go, that might be, that's probably worth pursuing, and from a time cost perspective, we're going to look at all of those and figure out where we need to go.
It's not feasible to spend $50, $80 to file suit on a
$17.
$17 bill.
Right, exactly. So we're going to look at all those and go from there. Obviously, at this point, I feel pretty pleased about the changes that were made. I don't know that I'll be doing a lot of tweaking to the overall program, but we'll certainly look at it again next year to see if there's anything we can change.
We've done a major difference, both of you have, so.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No. Thank you very
I
much.
know the taxing districts all appreciate it too.
I would like to say, just as an employee who works in the judge's office, I've never felt fear in this building, but I have felt uncomfortable at times with certain people that have come in this building that I knew were in the building. And so I really appreciate the cameras and the ability that we have now to be able to know who's coming into the building.
And the availability that the every office has the monitors of the cameras in the building. So everyone in the building can see who's coming in the parking lots in the building, can alert others if something happens. So, yeah, we dearly appreciate that. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Moving down to departmental reports, present for review to the Grant County Animal Shelter Report, Grant County Building Inspector's Report, Grant County Road Supervisor's Report for the month of August 2019. No action required. I think most of you have looked through. Looks like building permits are going well. Good report from the County Road Department. It looks like, Steve, you're all moving right along, getting some things done. Anything you want to add? It's not on a report of activity. So moving on down to
He's this tough one back there.
on the judge exec's report. I mentioned earlier, this Friday at 10 a.m. will be our site visit. We advertised last week in the paper for our HVAC system so that we could get contractors in to look at our system. And the plan is on Friday, we'll have the site visit, let all the contractors look over the building, let them make decisions and drawings of what they recommend be put into all the offices, because this building is unique. It's the wing that where my office is at, also PVA and all that, that has its own heating and air system separately, which that building was built in 1974, where the courthouse is 1934. It has these registers that we're running off the boiler with no central air condition. So like this room, for example, it has central air. The heat was through the radiators. We'll be looking at them drawing up a system where they'll be putting in gas, hooking into the gas line, because we have natural gas, with heat and air in this building, in this room. Then down in the county attorney's office, they're going to have to do what's called split units, where they would be putting it in where each office have their own thermostat, sort of the way our systems work in the other wing of the building. So be curious to see what different designs the contractors put together. And then on around the 20th, we'll do the RFP, where we can sit down with them, go over what their plans are as a committee, look over their what they're projecting to do in the building, try to compare apples to apples, and then we'll set it for the committee to look over and let them get the final bids into us the next week, so that we can get this done by the end of September. Part of the request for bid or for proposal is their timeline of, how quick they can start on it. Winter, we've talked, I know Stephen's been concerned with all of us that, probably mid to late October, temperatures may start dropping. So, I'm not concerned about water lines freezing, but I am concerned about certain people in other offices getting cold. So
I still got my blanket. I'm good.
Yeah. So, it's going to be a quick project. We'll be thorough with it, and hoping that we get some good bids in. Also, want to add, I talked to Steve Tatum earlier today. It looks like Bluegrass Paving is going to start around the 23rd of September. They'll be starting on Lincoln Ridge and also Stone Schoolhouse Road as our first two roads to get paved. After we get those paved, get everything submitted to the state on reimbursement, we'll be paving the roads on the north end of the county. So,
Like Baton Rouge and...
Baton Rouge will probably be the next one, and then we have Ellis and Napoleon Road. Also, still in the project I'm wanting to do is fixed on Cynthiana Road, but a lot of that's been held up. One, we've been waiting on landfill, still don't have an answer totally from them what their plans are. But the bridge, I was wanting to get the bridge, the state's fixing the bridge on Cynthiana, and before we fix that area with blacktop, I'd like to get that bridge fixed for the heavy equipment are driving over it. So
That's great. I know a lot of those citizens have been inquiring, like, what would the status be of that service road? And I said, you're aware, and
Eagle Tunnel Road, GSI's fixed it, and I've talked to Steve. They're supposed to be out this week to finish up their cleanup. They got busy, it didn't get done, but he's talked with them again. They've assured him they'll be out this week to get that cleanup done on the left side of the road as you go up, and then he'll proceed on to ditch out the right side of the road for drainage and get that paved, that section, so we can get that done. That's all I have. I'm going to change up things. I'm going to start District 3
woohoo!
and let Roger go first on, he's always last, so we're going to let Roger go first.
Ladies first, Roger. Come on.
Down District 3, again, just keep a check on the roads. Any areas, talking to several different citizens on their complaints and getting those resolved the best we can. Last week, attended in Louisville the governor's local issues conference. Come back with some great information and something we're looking forward to working with here in the county.
Letter? Okay. Our youth soccer league's in full swing. Susan, some of that will probably interfere with, I said our youth soccer league's in full swing right now, so I don't know if it's going to have any impact on your.
There's so much to do in the county.
That's what I'm saying, because you've got some great programs. Also at the Grant County Park, Chuck advised me today that the new playground is finished down there. So if you get a chance, go down around there and take a look at the new playground. Other than that, I don't have much more. I don't have any.
Last week, the Work Ready Committee submitted our narrative to the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. The county's narrative is currently in the hands of the committee reviewing, and then they'll come back to the committee for questions. That is our desire to seek a 3-year in-process designation. And at some point, although I chair that committee, I would like for someone else to come up and talk a little bit more about those plans and what that looks like, moving the needle for workforce development and educational attainment and quality of life for Grant County. So more to come from that in the next couple weeks. As Roger indicated, had the opportunity to attend last week the local issues conference hosted by the governor, and probably one of the key things that I already spoke about that's a follow-up is from a tourism and an activity standpoint, that community calendar. So later this week, meeting with R&B agency in town that handles a lot of our communications, logistics, and have a desire to kind of tandem the Work Ready community and the county and a county calendar in partnership with the chamber. And so Robin's been working to update our county website. Colton's helped play a role in that, because communication's key in having accessibility not only for Grant County residents but for tourists that are coming there. So lots of work happening there, and then just other basic county ordinance follow-ups of just stuff that continues to dangle over our heads. So I'm excited to get the committees established this evening, especially from an infrastructure standpoint, and what renewal we could do with looking at some of our ordinances and or how we can educate others on what county ordinances we have and about the cleanliness and properties and those types of things. So I think I'm excited to further roll up our sleeves and dive in on some of these committees just to continue to make progress. So that is all that I have. And Chuck, I also wanted to just personally thank you for the content underneath, like the new business and hosting the site visits for the contractors, and just doing frankly above and beyond little tiny things that hasn't happened before in this seat. And not only as a representative of the taxpayers, but as a taxpayer myself, I know that it may seem very minuscule, a few $100 savings here, maybe $1,000 savings here, but I really am excited at the approach that you're taking with the infrastructure committee and the RFP process, because serving in the seat the last 4 years. That hasn't happened, and I think, well, basically you're doing a job that some counties will hire an agency, an independent consultant to do, and I appreciate the heavy lifting that you and the other county employees are taking with that approach, because it, frankly, I don't think has probably ever been done that way in the history of this county. So thanks for going above and beyond on that and to help us save money.
I'm all about
As
saving
folks
money.
were asking where you were at that conference, I said, well, he's back at the courthouse taking out a boiler. He's doing what? I'm like, yes. And he's making me feel guilty because I should probably be back there helping. So thank you.
Chuck, too, on the senior bash.
Yeah, I
this
was
month.
going to
Oh, okay.
add that at the end.
Okay, you can give an update on that.
Okay.
And the last thing I want to say, the farm-to-table dinner tickets are still available for Friday the 20th, so you can stop at the city building or the chamber building. Those are still available. 150 will be sold, so
And if
How
the
much are
weather's
How much are they?
$50.
and it's a good time.
It-
I mean,
it-
last year,
it's-
and it looks like weather, if it doesn't rain, it's going to be here on Main Street underneath all the lights. So,
That have been up since last year when we tried to host it there. So, and if not, then it will be moved back to the fairgrounds,
yeah. So
the Cattleman's Barn.
with that being said, thank you all for your reports. Mike Webster, I think he has some good news on some things going on at the jail.
Good evening. So I'll run down the numbers and then I'll talk about some of the things that went on in the last week or 2 weeks. So state inmates, I've got 186. County inmates, I have 45. Madison County inmates, I have 30. So roughly 261. The number would have been better. I found out Thursday morning or Friday afternoon, they pulled 14 state inmates in today. So we're working on the numbers by far. The good news is,
Was that included in the 186?
excuse me?
Was that included in the 186?
No.
So 14 added to the 186?
Yes.
Okay.
The good news is, found out we're approved for SAP, so it's a go. We haven't signed the contract yet. The ad went out for a director Friday. We've had a little bit of buzz about it, nothing solid yet. So we're looking at getting that on the go and then moving forward to some other projects. We also did a air conditioner project that we bidded a while back. We were able to salvage some of the parts that we may need at a later date, but the ones that weren't salvaged, we were able to turn in for a cash return of $449.64.
Good.
On scrap yards. I think that pretty much lays it out there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
No, I appreciate the hard work, especially getting the Madison County contract.
Absolutely.
Because you all heard Mike mention the last few months that the state, because of parolees and the state getting them out of the county jails, that was decreasing our inmates, which obviously decreases our revenue. And so we had to look for other avenues and, working this out with Madison County, we got this done. And then also the fact with the SAP program. And I mean, as everyone knows, we have a substance abuse program or problem, not only in our county and the Commonwealth. It makes us unique with the program allowing county inmates to go into that program too.
Yes.
It allows us to use our region to get on, and Pendleton and other county inmates. We're unique now that we're able to be paid the revenue to house those inmates.
What was the per diem we got for the Madison County? Or do you want to publish that?
I'd have to look back at the contract. It's
28,
It
29.
was like less than 30, but it was more than the state.
it pays. It's more than 30. It pays better than the state.
Yes.
I
Sorry
think
about
the
that.
state's 31,
The
34.
31, 34.
Oh,
It was
okay. I
30,
meant less
34,
than 40.
$35.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay,
right
I was
under-
going,
I'd have to look
28, no.
exactly.
Yes, listed
It
40.
was.
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Better than the
20.
state.
I said 20.
Okay, let me ask you, did we include the medical with that, or are they going to pay?
They pay our own medical.
They
We
pay,
pay no medical.
Yeah, that's another positive about
Yes.
the contract with the county inmates,
I mean, obviously,
is they're responsible for
our
medical.
vendor's going to service them, but any cost over And beyond that,
The specialized.
I guess, Mike, they agreed to our terms.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
was
best way to
the
phrase it.
yeah,
We
it was the
drafted the
that
contract,
we-
and
the
they agreed
contract
to our
was brought in
terms.
front of you guys.
Yeah, it was about
months
3
ago.
months ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And the contract was definitely in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, it was reasonable.
It was.
I don't, we didn't try to take advantage of anybody,
No.
but on the same token, we didn't set up to be taken advantage of.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Mike.
All your hard work. Mike, right, do you have anything for the sheriff's office? Todd's down at Crittenden meeting tonight, so,
Sheriff was wanting me to pass along that deputies have been working long hours, and we've actually seized quite a bit of methamphetamine in the past month, including an address off Shady Lane. So, you want me to push that up? So y'all knew?
Okay.
it's over 100 grams.
In the Shady Lane?
Yes.
So we have noticed that methamphetamine is rising, and actual heroin is declining at the moment from what I've seen in reports. So maybe they're trying to use a meth to try to get off the heroin. Not sure. You want me to pass that along?
Okay.
There was 2 fatalities last week.
Yes, we did.
One on the railroad tracks at Dry Ridge,
The following day was a collision.
and then there was a vehicle that overturned on I-75, so. Okay, good deal. Thanks, Mike. Okay, moving down to citizens' address. Steve, you're the only citizen.
Who's the chauffeur of,
Anything you need to address? Okay, just as a reminder, Senior Bash, it's going to be the 26th. You can go online on the Grant County's website. It's an easy icon that you can click on, register online, or in the Grant County News was a ad you can cut out, or you can call the Parks and Rec's office at their phone number and register. I believe we're approaching about 400 as of today that has registered. We encourage everyone to pre-register for the fact that we can get a head count on what the cost of the food's going to be for us. So I just want to remind everybody, 8:30 is when they can get onto the grounds. It's going to be at the Ark Encounter. They'll park in the main parking lot. Parking's free for Grant County residents, and they will be bused over to the Ark. We'll be in the Answer Center, which will be climate controlled, where if we have rain, it'll be dry. If it's hot, they're going to be cool. So I think it's going to work out great for seniors in the community to have that. We'll eat lunch around 11:30 and last till 2. They're welcome to spend the day, walk on the grounds, through the petting zoos and things like that. So encourage all the seniors who want to come out to do that. If you're out-of-county resident, but you're a guest of an in-county resident, it's $10 per person for out-of-county, but you have to be a guest of an in-county resident. With that being said, our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, September 17th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. here at the Grant County Courthouse, and I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.